I have within me the idea of the ultimate game, which is a series of questions, asking the biggest questions that you ever had in your life, and where the biggest answers are, is within this. So the idea came from the Venus Project with Jacque Fresco and Roxanne Meadows, and how what they have there is their own Venus Project, all of the idea of a perfect society and how it reflects to them. But when you come close, they have the blueprints, but they don't have the ultimate projection of all Venus projects. Any two people reflecting each other have the idea of a Venus project, and so that's where Project Neptune comes about. So the way we're beginning this is Chris is going to ask me some 20 questions he got from somebody, and the evolution. I have the wavelength within me. I have the ultimate game. 7 billion people in the world, and this is the way that society is going to reflect global consciousness as this game becomes vicarious. And it becomes vicarious by people asking me questions and reflecting what what was embodied through me. Okay, so Chris asks the questions.
Okay. Why do you want to start a new religion?
I don't want to start a new religion.
Or a new denomination?
I use the idea of the zodiac, and this is reflecting the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the one who puts his archer in the sky and he tries to shoot for something. Astrology is the best metaphor to relate everything together. So the ultimate Sagittarius is the idea of resonating with the experiences of the highest questions that you ask. This is the idea of what learning really is. People learn by taking on experiences, by finding resonance from their own wavelength, exploring other people and other things. So I want to reflect the Sagittarian archetype, what people call school, education, and economy, and paradigm, and social structure, and system, and just spin it on its head to a point where people are actually into this vocabulary of a reflective language. So I'm starting the ultimate Sagittarian project out there. For those playing along at home, I am Sagittarius Moon.
What makes your ideas new?
What makes my ideas new is that it is always now. It's always a new day. There's a finite portion. It, once you figure out the idea that it's not a life about second punishment. It's not a life about judgment from other people. It is within the moment is where all your power is. The power of all the paradox. There's no preemption. When you put your thoughts out into the future, you're not here right now. So you miss a moment. So a moment like this, Kelly Clarkson. Some people wait a lifetime for a moment like this. And once you're able to study each of these reflective moments of your life, and you know how to take it to a new vision, and then vicarious within you is the idea of your vision for life, and from the questions that you have been caused to ask.
Why is astrology so attractive?
Astrology is attractive because English is flawed. If I were to map my mind, when you turn off Andrew Avenue, the first word you come to is Aries. So no matter what my thoughts are at a current time, whatever my emotions are, I am able to then steer back to the zodiac. So the idea becomes then, is astrology subjective? Is it just a metaphor to one person? It says this is the universe, and then we are one. And then it says in the galaxy, and we're still one. Then it says in the solar system, and we're still one. Nibiru. I use some astrology consciousness that most astrologers don't. I use Nibiru. I use the galaxy and the universe. And what they really do is give us a perspective that even with the low gravity of Pluto, that even within that, the revelation of sexuality of Pluto is that we're all so small within our respective lives. And so astrology can say, yes, this is the metaphoric language that can connect everything together from the expanse of everything that we've ever been able to figure out. And from there, you can relate to logic. That things will fall in resonance with the associated signs and the associated planets.
Do you believe it's natural to be in a religion?
We in Taurus archetype, which is fixed Earth, we are all a part of nature. We all are, in a sense, whatever the nature religion is. There's not a person who's ever written anything down who didn't have access to the all that is, that was a consciousness put into a lawful universe. So yes, a law. I guess the idea of science becomes then religion. The idea of faithful science. So we can merge the two people who like to fight together on questions like good and evil. Is man inherently good? Is man inherently evil? The light, the consciousness, is inherently put in us, and that is light. And we can depress it and damper it off, which is what we humans can do as darkness. So the answer is man has free will to go whichever way he wants to go.
Do you believe it's part of being human to be in a religion?
The religion, the idea of a social structure that Ron Paul called the military-industrial complex. You go to school and they say you have to sign this. And so you say, I'm not signing that. And then they say, well, you go to the principal's office. Your parents are paying tax money on this. And you go home and your parents say, I'm paying tax money. Get back in school. Sign the thing. And so there's no real place that touched down with anything of virtue. So when we look at wars and the teachers who are trying to teach us, there is really nothing that says these people have credentials. They go to school. I'm not into the idea of college. In that, Jesus was a carpenter, and the jobs to clean up after the people who take on jobs like lawyer and judge and policeman, those a military person, the ones who inflate the economy with what I call the fear-based dampening and the depressing.
Yeah, just kind of like what the Harbinger was saying as well.
What did they say?
Well, they said that essentially the emphasis on security in the rebuilding was the biggest mistake that the United States did, just like Israel, and so they were kind of bound to the same thing that Israel was bound to when they tried to rebuild after the Assyrian invasion.
Yeah, that's really powerful. I kept when I heard the quote from the Ellie Goulding song, and I think back to when my brother and my sister slept in an unlocked place. The only time I feel safe. I wrote that on my steering wheel because I just love it. I think there's all the power in the world in what Chris calls nihilism, in the idea of retracting from anything you don't see as dangerous because other people are practicing fear-based beliefs that will lead them into the danger by the very belief systems that they have.
Are you very deep in your beliefs now?
I have a concept called Akashic consciousness, which comes from the Akashic records. And
does that have to do with the Akkadian people by any chance?
It might.
Because the Akkadian people gave rise to the Assyrians who invaded Israel, and then the Harbinger drew a relation to the Assyrians and the Arabic speaking peoples.
What Akashic is, the Akashic consciousness is the idea of E equals mc squared.
Oh.
The idea of, you start to spin around, you start to spin fast, you start to make connections, and we add more to the collective. So the idea of depth is hitting the button. We can use depth as a metaphor. We can say, I'm Scorpio sign. Scorpio then is the depth. But when you hit the wall on the belief system over and over and over, there's no bottom to it. So you have to speed up to find the answers.
Yeah. Do you feel superstitious?
No, I think everything relates to logic, which is why we're here.
And you have no objections to seeing superstition in others? You know what superstition is, right?